Hello students, have you prepared last class's lesson? What did we learn? Yes, ingestion or intake of food. Here you see the diagram of human digestive system. Our digestive system is made up of the alimentary canal starting from the mouth to the anus. These are the two openings, and see, this is the tube which has got shape at different places. It has got different shapes and differently named. So this is the alimentary canal, and associated digestive glands like salivary glands, pancreas, liver. So the steps in mode of nutrition: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So we learnt about ingestion. When we swallow the food, it passes into the food pipe or esophagus. This is esophagus. Food and esophagus runs along the neck and the chest. Food is pushed down by the movement of the wall of the food pipe. Food is pushed down by the movement of the walls of the food pipe. Here, see, if this is the food pipe, what happens? If food is over here, the next part of this get expanded and it allows the food to come down. Now this part where the food is now, so the walls of this side, it gets contracted or narrowed. By the time the next part of it get expanded, so it is narrowed, it is pushing it down, and this walls, as it is expanded, it allows the food to come down. Now these walls will get contracted or narrowed and it will push the food down. Thus it moves downwards. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal. Gradually it enters into the stomach. At times when food is not accepted by our stomach, it is vomited out. That means what? So usually the food is coming down, but when it is not accepting this, it will be reversed. So it goes out of the body. So food enters into the stomach. Stomach is a thick walled bag. Its shape is a flattened U and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It receives the food from the food pipe in one end, so it receives the food from this end and opens it into the small intestine in the other end. So this end, you see, this is the small intestine which I have colored with blue. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus. It is a muscular organ and it helps in churning the food. It makes it into a paste-like form. And the inner walls of this secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. The mucus, which is a slimy fluid which protects the wall of the stomach. Now, function of hydrochloric acid. It kills bacteria which enter into the stomach along with the food and makes the medium acidic. In the stomach, it makes the medium acidic so that the digestive juices can work. The digestive juices breaks down the proteins into simpler substances. Now the food enters into the small intestine. The small intestine is a highly coiled long tube about 7.5 meter long. It receives secretion from the liver and the pancreas. Besides, its walls also secrete juices. See, the liver is the reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen in the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice that is stored in a sac called gallbladder. See here, this reddish brown structure, that is the liver, and this greenish structure, what you see, a small bag that stores the bile secreted by liver, that is called gallbladder. Bile plays an important role in digestion of fats. Pancreas is a leaf-like flattened structure which is located below the stomach. The bile which stored in the gallbladder through a tube comes out of the gallbladder, and the pancreatic juice from the pancreas comes out through a tube. and both of this make a common tube and opens into the small intestine. So the bile and the pancreatic juice enters into the small intestine, and they help in breaking down of the food into simpler forms or digestion. Now this partially digested food, as it goes to the lower part of the small intestine, the intestinal walls secrete digestive juices and digestion is completed here. The carbohydrates changes into glucose, fats into fatty acid and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. Hello students, have you prepared last class's lesson? What did we read? Yes, ingestion or intake of food. When we swallow the food, it passes into the food pipe or esophagus. The food pipe runs along the neck and the chest. Food is pushed down by the movement of the wall of the food pipe. Here you see the walls of this part get expanded. So food enters into it. Now the walls from both the side get contracted or narrowed. So the food is pushed down. At that time, the next part get expanded and allows the food to enter. Thus, it moves downwards. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards. So, gradually from the esophagus, it enters into the stomach. At times, when food is not accepted by our stomach, it is vomited out. The stomach is a thick-walled bag. Its shape is like a flattened U, and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It receives food from the food pipe at one end and opens into the small intestine at the other. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. The mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach. Actually, hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. It may damage our stomach wall. Mucus is a slimy fluid which protects the inner lining of the wall of the stomach. Now, what's the function of the acid? Acid kills many bacteria that enter along with the food and makes the medium in the stomach acidic and helps the digestive juices to act. The digestive juices break down proteins into simpler substances. Next, the food passes into the small intestine. The small intestine is highly coiled and is about 7.5 meters long. It receives secretion from the liver and the pancreas. Besides, its wall also secretes juices. Intestine has intestinal glands. So these intestinal glands which secrete digestive juices. Along with that, they get the secretion from the liver and from the pancreas. These are also digestive glands. The liver is the reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice. So what it secretes? Bile juice. That is stored in a sac called gallbladder. So what is the function of gallbladder? It stores bile juice. Bile juice is secreted from which gland? Liver. Liver is the largest gland of our body. The bile plays an important role in the digestion of fats. The pancreas is a large cream-colored gland located just below the stomach. See, it is located just below the stomach. The pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates, fats, and proteins and changes them into simpler forms. The partly digested food now reaches the lower part of the small intestine, where the intestinal juice completes the digestion of all components of the food. Components of food you have learned. The carbohydrates get broken down into simple sugars such as glucose, fats into fatty acid and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. The digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. This is called absorption. The inner walls of the small intestine have thousands of finger-like outgrowths. These are called villi, singular villus. So it has finger-like projections. Now what may be the function of it? The villi increases the surface area for absorption of the digested food. Each villus has a network of thin and small blood vessels close to its surface. The surface of the villi absorbs the digested food materials. The absorbed substances are transported via blood vessels to different organs of the body. So, food is absorbed in the next part of the small intestine, and after that it enters into the blood, and through the blood it reaches to different organs of the body where they are used to build complex substances such as the proteins required by our body. This is called assimilation. So we are learning the steps of digestion, actually nutrition. So first step ingestion, then digestion, then absorption, then assimilation. So when it enters into the cell and cell is ready to use this, so at that time what we say, this is called assimilation. In the cells, glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released. The food that remains, so here after assimilation cells can utilize this, and they utilize this to get energy. That what we say. So release of the energy from the food is called respiration. That is another process. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters into the large intestine. So this is called egestion. The large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is wider and shorter. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Its function is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal matter is removed through the anus. Anus is an opening from time to time. So from the anus it is given, the undigested food is given out time to time. This is called egestion. So today what we have learned, how human digestive system, what are the steps in human nutrition, right? So we have learnt about different steps in holozoic mode of different steps in nutrition. So today we have learned about human digestive system and how it works. Thank you, children. The walls of the small intestine has thousands of finger-like outgrowths. These are called villi. Singular is villus. Now, as these are finger-like outgrowths, it increases the surface area, and on the surface they have numerous blood vessels. So the digested food from the small intestine enters into the blood. That what we say absorption. Digested food which is absorbed or entered into the blood. So through blood it is carried to all parts of the body or in the cells. Now thus it enters into the cell, so it becomes the part of the cell, what we say assimilation. Now cells are ready to use this food, digested food, and the food combines with oxygen and releases energy. The food which remains undigested and unabsorbed, it enters into the large intestine. It is wider and smaller than the small intestine. It is 1.5 meter in length. The walls of the large intestine absorbs the water and salt, and remaining part it goes to the rectum where it remains as semi-solid feces, and time to time it is given out of the body through the opening called anus. This is called egestion. So today what we have learned, human digestive system and how it works.